In the quiet town of Itoro, tucked between red earth roads and tall palm trees in southwestern Nigeria, there lived a boy named Oluwadamilare Akinwale. People called him Dammy. Dammy was born on a rainy night when the power had gone out, and lanterns flickered in the small maternity ward of the General Hospital. When the nurse lifted him up, there was a brief silence before the cry. His right leg was twisted inward, thinner than the left, and did not move like it should. The doctor sighed softly and told his parents that their son would grow up with a physical disability. He might walk, but not without difficulty. Running, climbing, and farm work would be hard for him. His father, Pa Akinwale, a cassava farmer, nodded slowly. His mother, Mama Kemi, held the baby close and whispered, "He is still my child." As Dammy grew, his difference became clearer. Other children ran barefoot across the compound, chased goats, climbed mango trees, and played football until dusk. Dammy watched from the veranda, leaning on a carved wooden crutch his father made for him. When he tried to run, his body tilted awkwardly, and he often fell. The laughter that followed cut deeper than scraped knees. Some adults shook their heads and spoke in low voices. "That boy will suffer. He will depend on people all his life. It would have been better if—" Mama Kemi never let those sentences finish in her presence. At home, Dammy was not allowed to drown in pity. He swept the compound sitting down. He peeled cassava slowly. He learned patience early because life forced it on him. But what Dammy lacked in strength, he had in listening.
Every evening, after the sun dipped low and the air cooled, the village radio came alive. Old highlife songs, Yoruba folktales, football commentaries, and political debates poured out of the small box, powered by dry batteries. Dammy sat close, eyes closed, absorbing every sound. He memorized voices. He noticed rhythms. He could repeat entire radio dramas word for word. One day, when he was about 10, the radio stopped working. Silence filled the room. Dammy frowned. He turned the knobs, tapped the side, shook it gently. Nothing. While his parents argued about taking it to a repairer in the next town, Dammy dragged the radio closer. He opened the back with a rusted screwdriver and stared inside. Wires, coils, dust. He did not know what he was doing, but he was not afraid. Hours later, when Mama Kemi returned from the kitchen, music burst out again. She froze. "Dammy, what did you do?" He smiled shyly. One wire was loose. From that day, people began to notice something else about the disabled boy. He had talent. In primary school, Dammy could not stand in long assemblies, so teachers allowed him to sit at the back. From there, he listened. He learned faster than most. Mathematics made sense to him. English words stayed in his head. But what fascinated him most were sounds and machines. When a school bell broke, Dammy fixed it. When a teacher's radio failed, Dammy repaired it. When a neighbor's generator refused to start, Dammy listened to its cough and said, "It is the carburetor." Some people still laughed. What will repairing radios bring? He should learn tailoring at least. He cannot survive in Lagos. Pa Akinade voted silently. Farming was hard, even for strong men. What would become a son who could not walk long distances or lift heavy loads? One night, he sat beside Dammy under the moonlight. "My son," he said gently, "life is not kind. I fear for you." Dammy looked up. "Baba, I'm not weak. I'm just different." Those words stayed with his father. After secondary school, Dammy wanted to go to Ibadan to learn electronics properly. The idea terrified his parents. The city was loud, fast, and unforgiving. Buses would not wait for a boy with a limp. Landlords were cruel. Hunger did not respect disability. But Dammy insisted. "I will not sit here and wait for pity," he said. "I have hands. I have a brain." They sold a goat, borrowed money from a cooperative, and prayed over him before he left. Ibadan did not welcome him kindly. Conductors shouted at him to hurry. Passengers complained about his slowness. Some apprentices mocked the way he walked. The first workshop he approached turned him away. "We need strong boys here." The second laughed openly. The third, owned by an elderly man named Engineer Salami, watched Dammy quietly. "What can you do?" the old man asked. "Give me a radio," Dammy replied. Engineer Salami did. Dammy fixed it without lifting his eyes. From that day, Dammy became an apprentice. The work was not easy. He slept on the floor. He crawled under tables to reach sockets. He burned his fingers with soldering irons. He cried at night when pain shot through his leg. But every morning, he woke up and returned to the workshop. He learned about amplifiers, speakers, mixers, and recording equipment. He discovered that sound was not just noise, it was power. Years passed. When Dammy returned to Aitoro, he did not come empty-handed. He brought tools, confidence, and a dream. He converted a small room beside his parents' house into a recording studio. The walls were padded with foam and old mattresses. The signboard read, Akinwale Sound and Records. At first, people laughed. Who will record music here? Is it not for Lagos people? But one gospel singer tried, then a Fuji drummer, then a young rapper. Dammy's ears were magic. He knew when a voice was off-key, when a beat was too loud, when silence was needed. His studio became known beyond the town. One evening, a popular artist from Osogbo passed through and heard a song recorded by Dammy. He was shocked. Who mixed this? He asked. They pointed to the man with a crutch. That single connection changed everything. Dammy was invited to Lagos. Big studios, big money, big stages. He hesitated, remembering the insults, the stares, the fear. Then he remembered the boy on the veranda, listening to a radio while others ran. He went. In Lagos, Dammy did not run. He did not compete with strength. He competed with excellence. Within years, his name appeared on album covers. Artists requested him specifically. He trained young people, some disabled, some not. He built a studio that employed dozens. On the day he opened his new headquarters, journalists asked him one question again and again. How did you succeed despite your disability? Dammy smiled. I did not succeed despite it, he said. I succeeded with it. It taught me patience, focus, listening. While others ran, I listened. Back in Aitoro, children no longer laughed at difference. Parents pointed at Dammy's picture on television and said, see, talent has legs of its own. And in the evenings, when radios played music mixed by Oluwadamilare Akinwale, the boy who once listened in silence smiled, knowing that he had turned what people called weakness into his greatest strength.